while I was sitting on that bank, I happened to see a hawk circling high above me. His brown, reddish feathers shining in the sun. He came lower and lower and lower until this hawk was just a few feet above my head. I looked up at him, wondering what's he gonna do. He was a big hawk. His glistening yellow eyes intently gazed into the river. Suddenly, he dove headlong into the river of Ganges. And there was an underwater skirmish going on. It was flapping and flapping and flapping, and I didn't know what was happening. The water was splashing. And suddenly, the hawk emerged with a 1-foot fish pierced by his claws. And I looked at that fish. I don't know if it was a boy or a girl, but whatever he or she was totally bewildered as the hawk took him far away into the forest. And I was thinking that poor little fish was just going about its routine day like any other day. You know, probably playing around with fish friends and family friends, and looking for some food and going upstream and downstream and just living a happy fish life. When suddenly, at the least expected moment, this yellow-eyed hawk of faith ripped him right out of his comfort zone. And how much we are similar to that fish, just going about our routine lives, quite complacent to the reality that the hawk of fate could create crisis, drama, at any moment. Rip us out of our comfort zone. We read about it, we see it on television, we know people who've gone through it. How important it is to really focus our attention on what is really meaningful and fulfilling and important in life. My beloved Guru, Srila Prabhupada, he said our tendency is we become so much entangled with unnecessary necessities. Somebody had written, you can never get enough of what you don't really want. What do we really want? Do we really focus on that? And then I was thinking that if that hawk, if that fish swam deeper in the river, the hawk could not reach it. And similarly, if we go deeper into our own inner selves, if we go deeper into the real meaning and purpose of life, which is within us, then whatever may happen in this world, we can deal with it with a clear mind, but we're not affected. Why are we not affected? The Bhagavad Gita tells, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasa varajam rasofyasya param drisva nivartate. Because within the heart, within the soul is deep fulfillment, spiritual fulfillment. When we connect to that, then we could deal with all of the inevitable dualities of this world with a sober mind. We can actually find love and be instruments of compassion in our lives, and not be affected so much by the inevitable changes that come around us. And that is what yoga means. To actually reconnect with our own essence. And the word religion comes from the Latin word religio, which means to bind us back to our own true essence. In the Bible it is said, what is the use if you gain the whole world if you lose your eternal soul? To be in this world, but not of this world. Real happiness is not about what we can grab from outside, thinking we need more and more and more and more. Because we can never get enough of what we don't really want. Real happiness is finding the joy of our own connection to the divinity within our own hearts and sharing that by giving it out. Yes, if we swim deeper, we can find true fulfillment and be an instrument of that fulfillment. And I was thinking in terms of this episode I just had gone through. I didn't plan to get caught in quicksand. I didn't plan to drown in a river. But it all just happened. But by chanting this mantra, I actually tuned in, as Vinayaji was saying, tuned in to a higher reality, to a spiritual essence that connected me. And I found peace, fulfillment, knowing the eternal nature of who I was. And it was beautiful. So these are a few stories that were very true.